So I receive a lot of comments, emails, people asking if they need a teacher in real life or if they're going to be able to learn everything that they need from my YouTube lessons or my courses. And I decided that I would make this lesson answering those questions so that you can make the best decision in terms of your music and guitar education. Now, obviously, you're watching this on YouTube. You probably know me exclusively as an online teacher. Well, before getting into this, I taught in-person lessons, and I still do to this day to a select few students. Obviously, I have to balance that, out with my online career as well. But this puts me in a unique position to give you an unbiased opinion since I do serve both of these methods wholeheartedly, and I can see the pros and cons of each of them. And there's some really good things that are unique to teaching in person that you're only going to get that way. And there's some really good stuff that you're only going to get through online lessons. And I just want to present you all the upsides and downsides to each one. Now, really quick before we jump in, if you have taken the time to subscribe to my channel, I sincerely thank you. And if you have not, now's your chance to just hit subscribe, like the video. You can even leave a comment. That'll help me greatly in spreading these free guitar lessons on YouTube for people like yourself who are eager to learn. And don't forget to grab your copy of my free ebook. It's free for all my subscribers. I'll put a link to that in the corner. Now, I want to pick 3 metrics to judge this all by. 3 things that you're going to need as a student. Number 1 is access to information. Number 2 is structure. And number 3 is personalization. And we'll begin with number 1, the access to information. And when it comes to in-person lessons, you have access to the teacher in front of you. And if you've chosen the right teacher, they're going to be able to do the things that you want to be able to do on guitar. And then they're going to hopefully be able to show you how they got there and how they've helped other students get there too, and they can base it all off of their experience. And that's how I teach my students. If somebody wants to learn jazz guitar, great, I have a degree in jazz guitar. They want to learn chords and strumming, great, I strum chords around a campfire all the time. If they want to learn classical music though, well, that's not really my specialty. I can play a couple pieces. My technique is it's good, but it's not like the same level that somebody who just takes it super seriously would be. So in terms of access to information, when you're sitting in front of me in a one-on-one lesson, you're limited by my knowledge on classical music in this case. For beginner stuff, this is no problem, and most teachers can usually figure stuff out on the fly. When you want to specialize, it's good to find somebody like that, and if you're lucky, you will find somebody like that. And that is where online lessons really shine. I mean, you have access to literally everything. I can design and perfect each of my lessons, and I can take as much time as I want to do that. You don't have to sit and watch me transcribe a song like, would happen in a one-on-one lesson. You just show up here on YouTube or on my course's website, and you have access to pretty much any lesson that you could want. And, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know personally, I spend a lot of time making sure that my lessons work. I'll watch them. Sometimes I'll even scrap an entire lesson and start from scratch. And the result is that I'm able to produce really high quality guitar lessons based on what people ask for in my comments section or, my real experience, like what has worked with other students in real life. Furthermore, I can use graphics, which you'll see in tons of my videos. Like when I teach somebody in real life, the lyrics and chords, they don't scroll above my head. That stuff, that takes a couple hours to do on my computer. And that's the benefit with online lessons is you get my idea of what the lesson should really look like, and it's all ready for you. As soon as you're ready, you just load it up and it's there, So in terms of access to information, learning online clearly gives you much greater access to the information. In-person lessons are a little bit easier to find the right lesson for you because you can just ask the person and they'll just think about it like, oh yeah, let's do this. Whereas online, you do have to do a bit of a, Google search to actually find the right thing, and it can be a bit of a rabbit hole. Now, our second point is structure. And when it comes to in-person lessons, there are a few ways to provide structure, and this depends on your teacher. The most time-consuming way, and this is the way that I do it, involves me, the teacher, keeping a journal of what I do with every one of my students. I encourage them to keep a journal as well, but I kind of have like my master list of what I've done with every one of my students. And then between lessons, I can plan ahead, and I'll, be able to look like, okay, this is what we did last time. This is the logical place to go from here. And this gives the student a really flexible framework that follows their precise needs as they go along. The downside to this is how time consuming it is. If I have 20 students and I'm doing that for every one of them, that takes up a lot of my mental space, So some of the alternatives, something that I would mix in a little bit of, is maybe some method books. Like, I don't know if you can see, I have some method books, and sometimes it is good to just go through that. Like if they want to learn some blues licks, I just have a book of blues licks and we can just pick one. I'll just play them and they'll be like, that one stands out to me. And then we can learn it, learn how to use it, and base a lesson off of that. Now, the problem arises when you have a teacher who only teaches out of the book, which I know that does happen sometimes. And it's convenient from the teacher's perspective, but as a student, I feel like you could just buy the book and just do it yourself, So it really depends on your teacher and how they treat those materials. And it's definitely something to look out for in that sense. Now with online lessons, believe it or not, there is quite a bit of flexibility there, because I do take input when you guys leave comments, when you email me, that's how I come up with what I'm teaching. Like today, I'm going to film a couple lessons. 2 more of them are based on what people have asked in my community. On top of that, I'm able to kind of look at it all and put it in perspective and make a bigger structure out of it. And that's what I do in my courses. I've pretty much covered everything at this point. So if you want to learn the basics or if you want to learn fingerstyle, there will be a structured path from start to finish based on what has worked in my real life lessons. Because I taught in real life for a long time before putting this all online, and I can just take like the best lessons that I've ever taught in real life and turn them into these really refined packages that are pretty much guaranteed to work. And on top of that, you get to go at your own pace. You can watch the lessons as many times as you need to. It is worth noting that on YouTube, there's no structure. So, you can get lost in the YouTube rabbit hole. But when teachers like myself online are able to make courses and structure it all, it is, really beneficial for the student. Now, my final point, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit so far, is personalization. In-person lessons are completely personalized. I can see your hands, I can see what your issues are, and we can focus on those issues. I know that if we do X, Y, and Z, you're going to be able to play that song that you want to play, and I'm going to be able to walk you through every single step of the way and to talk you through it in real time. The downside to this is obviously the cost. It's like $50 to sit in front of me for 30 minutes and have that experience. And, it depends on where you live and how much lessons cost. But for a good experienced teacher who has seen tons of students all the way through and will be able to say, yeah, I've seen this little rhythm issue before, and here's 5 different ways that we can fix it, and you're going to have all these options and all these different angles to solve every problem from. That's going to be a pretty hefty investment, especially when you consider, like, let's say you pay $50 a week and you take lessons all year. That's like $2,000 to $2,500 in a year, and don't get me wrong, for that kind of an investment, you can get a huge payoff, but your mileage may vary, depending on what kind of teachers you have access to. If you're in a bigger city, you're definitely going to have the right kind of people to support you through that journey. Now, with online lessons, in terms of personalization, we do have to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Online lessons are a one-way street. I can only deliver a lesson to you. I cannot jump out of the screen and take a look at your hands and figure out exactly what you need at that exact moment. So in terms of personalization, in-person lessons are clearly the winner. And now, with that said, as somebody who has taught tons of in-person lessons, most people do want the same or similar things. We do have to acknowledge that every student is unique, but at the same time, most issues that students face are faced by many other students. And 99% of the time, when I get a new student who, for instance, has problem with their rhythm, I've already encountered these issues with like 50 other students. And we've solved it 5 different ways. That's one of the reasons why I started making online lessons, is so that I could share those solutions with everybody. I'm able to take these lessons that I've taught hundreds of times in real life and make the best version of it that I can and put that online. And between my YouTube channel and my courses page, I cover a lot more stuff than you could go through in years of in-person lessons, right? And this brings me to my final point. As somebody who does in-person lessons and online lessons, I've tried really hard to meld these two approaches, to provide people with the best of both worlds. And I finally come up with a way that pretty much does it. I actually started it in March. It's the Good Guitarist community group, and it's open to anybody who has purchased one of my courses. So far, there's over 2,000 members, and it's a place where you can get that feedback. People post videos of their playing and I can watch it and I can give that personalized input. I can reinforce the good things and help motivate you. I can correct the issues and make sure that you're moving forward the right way. And it's a collective thing, like everybody is able to chime in and encourage each other. So you'll find lots of people who are in your shoes. I'm doing these weekly challenges or every couple weeks, depending. Right now I'm like renovating my house, but I'll make a lesson and a worksheet, and that way you have even more stuff to do and you can kind of do it with other people. You'll try to play some bass lines and you'll make a video of it and show your friends on the group. It's really working out. I know that not everybody can afford weekly in-person lessons to begin with, and on average it's like $200 a month to take in-person lessons. But my most expensive course costs less than that, so it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. You get the course and then the community is a freebie that's worth just as much, if not more, and ultimately my goal is to provide the best education to as many people as possible. There just aren't enough hours in the day for me to teach more than a couple dozen people in person. It's a huge investment for that, and that's why I've made the courses and the community so that people can get the proper education, they can get the personalized feedback, get the motivation and encouragement from their peers, and it's already working so well, and I'm happy to finally be able to publicly invite more people to it. So if you're interested, check out the link in the corner and down below. See which one of my courses is going to help you, and you'll automatically be invited to the community as part of your purchase. This is the best way to support the channel and help me keep these free lessons coming, as well as the best way to reach your goals on guitar. Even if you don't sign up, I appreciate that you're here with me on YouTube learning guitar with me. I truly do. So I thank you for that. Anyways, that's all we have for today. Have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.